So let's go back because I learned a lot about you in preparing for today. Born in the Virgin
Yeah.
Islands, which nobody was. You're it. You're
Going
the
on
only
it.
one ever. And
It's
and then raised in New Jersey and Florida. So like, by the way, if that's true, those are the two best news producing states in America. You must have had the most colorful experiences as a kid.
we did have colorful experiences. Listen, Florida for me was an ideal place. It was an ideal fit. I'll regress to Jersey in a second, but when we moved to Florida, it was a presumptive joy for me and for Karen, for my sister. We loved Florida. We'd been there for Christmas a couple of times previously, and the warmth, the sound of the palm trees, the humidity, everything just felt like a kind of a bath of sensual splendor. I mean, we grew up in a time that was, a bit repressed and a bit sort of, post 50s, post World War II. There was still a bit of that kind of hangover, and uh, to go there and to live our lives going in the ocean every day and to go water skiing all the time and stuff like that was just, it was a magnificent way to grow up. We just had the best time. And I think that's part of why it took me so long to write the book about Karen was, I mean, I waited for almost 50 years to write it. It's a fascinating
Yeah.
uh, adjustment, but I finally realized I wanted to say something about her. And ostensibly, there's an argument to be made that people might be interested in what the future, whether what the past was that, brought about this creation of Frasier and my career and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
early days
you
were good.
suffered a lot of tragedy growing up. I didn't realize your dad was murdered,
Yeah,
and as was your
yeah.
sister, and then you had two stepbrothers who died in
Right,
a
that was
terrible
more of a
scuba
freak
accident.
thing, the diving accident with the shark. I mean, they never found any remains of Billy. He was lost completely. Stevie washed up on the shore. Um,
My God.
yeah,
I mean,
tough
that's
stuff.
an unusually high percentage of
Yeah,
tragedy
it's a
in a
it's a big
young man's
quotient for a
life.
young
But,
life. Yeah,
well, I thought it was interesting. I mean, first of all, it explained to me all the stories I saw in the 90s of your drinking problem.
hmm
And then, second of all, I did think it was interesting. You could have written about any of those experiences and made it a best-selling book, but you must have been pretty close with your sister Karen to take on that particular tragedy and really deal with it because I mean that was so brutal and so personal.
it was pretty horrible. I wanted to, in writing the book, I wanted to. It's funny, people talk about what they've been through, and then they often play like sort of a victim card. And I know that I've certainly been accused of doing that myself, but I've done my best not to. Uh, but in telling the tale about Karen's destruction, the night of the last night of her life, I wanted to make sure that there was an honest uncovering of everything that happened, so that people would understand it as a credential of sorts. That when I gave out advice about how to survive such a thing, how to endure such a thing, that it would be recognized as the same kind of tragedy that others have actually endured. Uh, I was trying to
Hmm.
extend a hand of comfort to people who've been through similar things. And sadly, there's a lot of people who've been through similar things. Somebody told me a long time ago that no matter how pretty you are, so there's somebody prettier. No matter how handsome you are, there's somebody more handsome. There's somebody more talented. Uh, there is always a more tragic tale. And so I just needed to let people know that what I was coming from was a real place, a real source, so that the comfort I was hoping to offer would come from a place that seemed authentic and real and
Hmm.
might actually
It
bring some
certainly does.
solace.
Can you tell us what happened to Karen?
Karen was abducted around 12:30 in the morning outside of the Red Lobster where she worked. She was waiting for some friends to come out, and a few hours later, she was dead. They took her, and one of the fellas walked up to her and showed her a gun and said, "You're coming with us." And so they put her in the back seat. They went back into the Red Lobster after that, and were going to rob the place. And I think something about the setup of where they were in their heads. They didn't end up robbing it. They just ended up going back out to the car. Then they took Karen to one of their apartments, and that's where they raped her. And um, she pleaded for her life several times. And the the account we have of what happened to her those last few hours was basically provided by a guy who was arrested in New Orleans several months after her murder, who said, "I know about the girl in Colorado." And they said, "What are you talking about?" And then then the police flew there, and they finally said to me, they called me a week or so later and said, "We think we have the guys." And so it was three of them. And they there was one young man there who apparently had not been part of the other killings as much, and they thought he should earn his stripes, basically. And so he was the one that
Oh,
put the knife in her several times. And they left her to die by this little trailer park where I visited I visited that spot in the book. It's sort of a sad feeling. There's a home there where I think the guy who found Karen actually still lives there. I think it's got a tall fence and some barbed wire on top, and it's like he didn't want to be bothered. So he wasn't
wow.
bothered. I don't want to hurt anybody or make anybody go back and relive something. Uh, but for me, it's been left to relive it all the time because we've had parole hearings and stuff like that, which take me back to it, and that's
Yep.
difficult. But you know what?
You're working to make sure that
But yeah, that he
there
doesn't
is no
get out.
parole.
Yeah, but I just think
Yeah.
it's and insult to injury is what that would amount to for me.
Well, because I read that with your dad's murder, he was shot by a man who was convicted, but then it was overturned. Is that correct? It was
Well, he was
overturned because
actually
of he was found
he was
insane.
found not guilty by reason of insanity. Uh,
Hmm.
the other problem is I don't know all the particulars of it, but the rumor mill, apparently there was more of a kind of an assassination thing because the tensions were running high in the Virgin Islands. They do that all the time. There's a kind of an energy there that's sometimes it's like seasonally violent, and then it's kind of really placid and wonderful in the paradise you believe it is. But when a few years later, after this man whose last name ironically is Niles, just nobody understands how that
I
kind of
noticed
happens.
that.
It's just weird. But
Yeah.
apparently he was arrested again in an attempted professional hit on a judge. So he went back to
Oh.
jail. his
Oh.
his sentence was
As they
tossed
usually
out, and
do.
he was sent back to
Well,
jail
because
by
when I saw it, I was thinking you must be extra determined to go to those parole hearings for your
yeah,
sister's killer because you've already been burned somewhat by the system.
yeah.
And to me, I don't know, Kelsey, if you've ever thought of that, about this, but it almost seemed like, is it ironic or is it actually totally, it makes perfect sense that a guy who's been through all of that would choose a career in comedy?
Yeah, I know. Well, it does seem, but I think that's how we do it. Laugh. There's a great poem by a writer named James Merrill, who I think he taught at Yale for a while, but he describes at one point um, one of the characters in the story, but it's like an epic poem, a modern epic poem. But he describes the sound of hearing God's voice, God's song, God be's song. So calls him God biology, and the character says it was like listening to a man on a life raft singing to keep up his nerve, and I
Mm.
think that's what I am. So,
Hmm. Well, you were on your way toward a career in the arts
mhm.
when Karen was killed. You were at Juilliard
Yeah.
at the time, right?
Well, I'd just been kicked out.
And by the way, yeah, you just been kicked out. So how did Kelsey Grammer get kicked out of
Well,
Juilliard?
I look back on it, and I really think it's because I didn't go to acting class.
Oh,
It
well, that'll
wasn't
do it.
it wasn't deeply personal. I just didn't really like the guy so much, and I thought, well, I don't know if I'm learning anything from this guy, so I just go take a walk instead. And that proved to be sort of a bad investment of my time.
It's funny because I was rejected from the Syracuse University
I can't
journalism
imagine
school.
anyone
And
rejecting you.
yeah, well, I was rejected, and now I love telling that story. But the heir to the Newhouse fortune sat next to me at an event. It was actually an Oscars party one year, and he said, "Please, please stop telling people that story."
Okay, yeah, just cut it out. Yeah.
So we got the last laugh. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons that gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.